Hey guys, welcome to another video from me, Fraser, and welcome to my channel too. If you're enjoying my content, then I really do hope you get what you want out of it and you're enjoying seeing me do these flights. I'm one of many people doing lots of flights and stuff, but I hope you enjoy my content. And yeah, I'm here finishing off that flight that I did from the what was the capital connections between Singapore, Canberra and Wellington. Then it became just between, then they changed it to Melbourne, the flight. So we did a flight, as you know, through Canberra, and now we're returning through Melbourne, and we're gonna just complete the flight and head on up to Singapore with this lovely Singapore Airlines 777-200, which did operate the flight in real life, and then towards the end they were replaced by and these guys over here, the A350. And then COVID came and the rest was history, and from what I understand it had a decent patronage, and it was performing quite alright, but yeah, it hasn't come back, but I'm sure Wellington will get a long haul flight at some stage in its career. But yeah, what we're going to do is just what we've been doing for the last however long you guys been watching my video, but we're just going to go straight in and just get this flight plan loaded up, and we'll get in and you can see how I do things. And yeah, we're going to load up our flight plan, type in our departure airport YML, go to route request, bring up our flight plan, set payload, set fuel, set route, and we'll set our initial altitude, which is going to be 34,000 feet. And that's the sound that my flight plan has come up. So I'm just going to click load, and while I'm here I'm going to reset this checklist and just go through and tick these items off like so. And then I'm going to come into here and using FS HUD for the ATC. We come into our performance init page and just click on the little magic box to bring up our weights and accept. Go into our legs, and we're going to load our wings. Execute. Then we're going to go to VNAV and just load the forecast that's already to be loaded up. And then we're going to go into our departure page. This is just nice and light. It's got a nice flow. Enter in our departure, keep it a 3A. Execute. So we've got our departure set, and now we're going to carry on going into our init page. We're going to go to do the last little bits now, which is setting our performance, getting our calculations for our takeoff. Runway 34, import our weight strictly from the aircraft so it matches up, import the weather and calculate. So T2 takeoff, and 46 is like as our flex temp. And we can now go into, I'm just going to bring up my Shift C stats for you. I'm going to push the magic B to get our set our altimeters, and just going to add in the wind, which is 360-70, so it's quite a windy day there here in Melbourne. And yeah, going to set flaps 5, just bring up the trim and just copy and paste the starter in. Set our speed to 160. And basically just like that. And that's how quickly we can, as long as we're not going hardcore in the simulation world, that's how quickly you can get flight plans loaded and basically on your way. I'm just going to do this quickly. I know Singapore's got all of their runways, no issues at all, so yeah, we are ready for our pushback. I'll just release the ground crew, and I'll just release the turn off the external power, and we can basically turn on all of these hydraulics. The fuel tanks can now all come on, and we might as well put our beacon light on. We're going to be basically ready to get going. I mean, this doesn't do anything, but well, the doors anyway, just for a bit of realism. Release the external power, and we'll release the jetway as well. And we'll just do our little pushback, because there's not much room to push back into here. We're going to have to push back all the way out there, so we'll go ahead and do that. Don't need that yet, so I will just, I'll set my departure heading, which is going to be 340. Grab the tug, disengage the parking brake. Oh, we'll turn on the passenger signs now. We're ready to depart. Well, I'll leave the stand. I'll just go ahead and click these items. Alright, we'll start our pushback. Oh, we'll set our transponder as well. Right, let's start our pushback. Oh, and there's a bit of a bump there. Melbourne's quite an interesting airport. It looks like it's I mean, it's one of those like things like heavy aircraft obviously can park there and all the rest of it, but it looks like a very tight airport. I can imagine it's one of those very compact, tight airports where, like I say, they wouldn't park there if there wasn't any room, but it'd be one of those airports where pilots feel just a bit too, I can imagine it'd be just on the tighter side of normal everyday wide body flights, taxiing procedures. Right, we're going to get that fuel going, get that engine turned on now, and just keep an eye out on where we are in the world. And we're just going to push all the way out around here. A nice busy day here in Melbourne. It's definitely well, what you call it, it's definitely well stocked with different airlines and an airport that connects to pretty much all around the world, really. It's a very much a big, large international airport. But yeah, definitely, this definitely would be in real life too, a very long pushback procedure. Right, we'll quickly get that engine one is more than turned on, so I'll get the other one started up too. And I think that will do for us. Right, let's set our trim, which is going to be 6 degrees up. So we'll go to a flight control page just to get the and while we're here, we can just check out flight controls, like if we were a real world pilot. That'd be a bit more thorough than that, but that's enough for me. Oh, don't want to do that. Right, that's that done. We can go back to the checklist. We can now come up to here and turn off our APU. That's the engine finished its, and we'll set flaps 5 as well. Turn on our taxi lights and turn on our center fuel tanks because we've got fuel in the center fuel tanks. This is a slightly longer flight. Set our automatic brakes. We've already checked the flight controls. Flaps are coming down. Oh, that's already done, so we can clear that. Get it ready for our takeoff. And away we go. Off to Sydney, after Singapore. As we look at the very busy tarmac here in Melbourne. Like I was saying, it's very well, it's got a nice variety of aircraft here, as it is definitely one of the, it's probably the second largest, maybe just behind Brisbane, but it's definitely a very well connected international airport. And that's probably a wee bit too fast with our taxi out, but this is by no means real life, so I'm okay with that. And there's no major restrictions, just 250, so we're just gonna go ahead and arm VNav and LNav. Don't think there's I don't think there's any major noise abatement. Well, it's in the daytime anyway, which actually reminds me, I'll just change this so it's just a nice daytime flight, so we can get, actually I would go the other way, make this a sort of a morning departure, so we can get a nice view of the outback as we're flying over the heart of Australia. And just doing another light little once over, make sure everything's all looking good. what we will do is we can now turn this to the TARA selector. That brings up all of our traffic. And we're pretty much ready to go. We'll turn on our landing lights when we get to the airport, when we get to the runway. Wait for this little 737 to take off. And in typical fashion, we'll, at the very least, we'll wait for the 737 to get going, and then we'll just slot on behind and we'll just get going. We won't muck around too much. Alright, we're going to do our landing lights, strobe lights are all coming on, and we're ready to go. We're just going to get going. And we're just going to pretend we got clearance, spool up the engines, click on the little magic toga button there, and away we go. Just like that. That's how quick, with the help of the bit of magic there with the ability to load your flight plan straight in and your fuel and your payload in a blink of an eye, you're, apart from the taxiing and turning on the engines, pretty much straight away we're heading on off to Singapore. And that's us V1, we can rotate. Gear can come up. Nice, we climb on out of Melbourne, and we're just going to go ahead and turn on the autopilot. We're going to our next page because we'll update that soon with our with our restrictions, which are not our restrictions but our step climb. So we're going to go into our page and we'll enter that in now. Quebec, we're going to be at 36. S for step, and at map 38, so look for at map. .360 step. Oh no, 380. And our flaps can come up. And that's our step climbs all loaded up. Weather radar can now come on. And we can get rid of that checklist and we'll keep it on the fuel page. It feels very like, mind you, we got climb 2, which is supposedly the I guess you could say the fuel efficient climb, but it feels a bit sluggish than usual. But the only thing, I was a bit late with raising the flaps, but apart from that, it seems to be, everything seems to be alright. Right, we'll, not that we're going to be spending much time inside the cockpit, but that's pretty much our takeoff all completed. We'll just turn off these lights that we don't need. Logo light can come off. We can now turn on these anti-ice to auto. Don't need that passenger signs anymore. And yeah, it's just all about now, folks, just sitting back and relax and just enjoying the flight as we make our way to Singapore. Our last stop on this little nostalgia flight when Singapore Airlines used to operate out of Wellington. And when I do get the A350, I'll definitely do a flight with the A350 from Singapore to Melbourne, then Melbourne to Wellington. But until then, we'll just sit back and relax, and I'll get back to you with the landing part, unless things happen and I, like what happened with my last flight, I didn't do any voiceover for the landing. But we'll see how it goes, and yeah, we'll get back to you guys soon. Right, folks, I'm back now and here ready for our landing. So we've been given our descent, our acknowledgement for descent. So I'll scroll that down to 10,000 feet, and we've also been given our, I'll just get it below that because when you have sim rate it sometimes struggles to keep up. So we've got that set, and we can now, they're giving us our QNH, so we can go ahead and I believe we can enter that, which is 10:07, and I've also done the calculation, filled out this, so we're going to use flaps 25 for our landing, and we'll just go plug it in as well into here, copy and paste, and we can also, I'll just double check our runway. We might just play it safe and go for flaps, auto brakes 4, calculate, just so we can aim for one of these rapid speed exit points. Actually, we'll just go auto brakes 3, and then we can just use manual braking when required, so we'll just use that. And yeah, we're just using our nav VNav just take over as we're descending. We can actually click off this altimeters because we've got that set, so we'll arm our speed brakes just in case we don't need them, so that's all sorted. And yeah, that's all we need to do really, is just follow our arrival. And which will, I believe, will then vector us onto our we'll see what happens. I'm assuming that there's a discontinuity here, so ATC will vector us in. So we'll see how it all pans out. And we'll turn on our landing lights now, our seatbelt signs. We can turn on our logo light, turn on all of these. We're pretty much getting ready to go through 10,000 feet, so that all can come on. Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed the basically a time lapse through flying over Australia there. You would have noticed me, I do not expect you guys to watch the full hour video, but those who did, you would have seen Uluru as we flew over it. It was always quite cool seeing that, both in real life and in Flight Simulator, although I've never seen it in real life. And we're flying over what just shows you, like, some people think this is all like Singapore, but this is not Singapore. This is Indonesia. Singapore, it just shows you how, I'll just slow this down a little bit, just shows you how compact this whole area is. You got Indonesia here, these are all Indonesian islands, then you got Malaysia here, then you got Singapore here, so it's a very, very interesting condensed part of the world, even though Malaysia is like a massive spread out country. Same with Malaysia, and then you got this little bit of landmass here which is Singapore. But yeah, we're flying over Malaysia, Indonesian islands, and it would be interesting if this was all, if Asobo did some water masking. I reckon they'd just bring this so much to life, even if it's just the water masking at the very least. Definitely feel this part of the world is highly underrated when it comes to various field updates. Right, we've been given a speed request now, so 210. We'll just bring back that sim rate. We don't really need that, but I'll have that ready. What does that go around altitude? Right, what we'll do is we'll just pull that speed, that altitude back to 3.5. And our go around is going to be 5,000 feet, so we'll remember that. So everything's all set up for our landing. Apart from, of course, the flaps and whatnot as we're flying over Malaysia here. It looks very industrial here. Lots of fuel tanks and whatnot. Malaysia does produce oil, so that must be what that is. Right, we're going to go to heading mode now. Oh. Yeah, we're going to just set my heading. We're going to heading mode now. I'll just reduce the sim rate. It's getting a bit too silly there at 2 times. Alright, let's see if they vector us in for this arrival. Alright, let's see what they do here. Well, it is 3,000. Oh, they do say 3,000, so I'll set 3,000. Alright, that's good. We've been given the vector, so we'll go ahead and select 270. Though I don't have beyond ATC, but this seems to work quite well. I am very happy with FS HUD. And I got this before beyond ATC came out, so no, I'm really happy with it. It seems to do the trick. Well, I think the vectoring can be a little bit. Sometimes it can be a little bit hit or miss. Right, we're going to turn left, and I'm assuming that's basically clearance to lock onto the ILS. So I'm just going to arm the localizer. Right, our final bearing 230. Let's see if the next one is... Right, we'll turn off our weather radar. Let's see if the next instruction is clearance for the for localizer. We'll find out very soon. And I'd like to know, guys, if we're this slow, do we put out these flaps anyway? Because I've got it set to 15 because it's getting close to the stall speed, but anyone who's watching this who can ask that question, that'd be much appreciated. I feel like it's lots of drag, but at the same time too, I don't want to fall out of this fall out of the sky. Right, I'm gonna well, the plane's locking up onto the ILS, and I am going to arm the approach, lower the landing gear, and then I'll dial back the speed when I get a little bit closer. Actually, I'll just dial back the speed now. I think that'll give us enough time to slow down. So select 142, and I can set that to the go around altitude, which is 5,000. And it's just going through the different processes now. Flaps 30, the final stage of flaps 30, and we are pretty much all set for our landing. That's that checklist done. Everything is all reasonable, nothing silly or out of the ordinary. Landing lights and everything else is on. We're established on the ILS, the glide slope. And the rest is going to be... I love to know too in these sort of... Oh wow, that's the autopilot disconnected. Right, I'll go into the approach mode, which I don't do, but I should do it. I think that's what pilots do. Gives us that visual representation of where we are in the world. And I'll disconnect the auto throttle too. We'll do this all manually now. Coming to land on runway 20 right, 20 right, here at Singapore. A very stereotypical hazy, hot, not a breath of wind day here at Singapore. And let's see how my computer does.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Alright, we are.
30, 20, 10.
Can pull back that throttle. And touchdown. Full reverse thrust, so we don't need full reverse thrust, but and then we'll just let the auto braking, that's, we can disconnect that now, we don't need that. And here we are, made it to Singapore. Turn off the landing lights, turn off the strobe lights, clear this caution, go to our map, and we are basically, we better turn on the APU, we're basically at our gate, so we'll turn that off. Clear this errors, flaps can come up if I haven't done that already. Get the crew to disarm the doors. Right, the landing lights are off, we'll turn off these turn off lights. And here we are, folks, we're back where we started all of those flights ago. I was going to say a couple of days ago, but we've done this in warp speed mode, so well, it's taken us I was supposed to do it all in one day, but ran out of time, but here we are. Alright, I'll put this back into plan mode. Turn off our flight directives, we don't need those, reset those for the next flight. And this is going to be our parking spot here, I do believe, A4. Now we can turn off our taxi lights. Pull back that speed, that's going just a little bit fast, being a little bit ridiculous there. And we will stop at the 777 markers, which I believe is going to be this one here. Parking brake is now on, and we can now go ahead and shut down this aircraft, and we will turn off this transponder too. Beacon lights can come off, these can come off, that can come off. Turn off the hydraulics, the electrics, fuel pumps off. Emergency lights can now come off. Get that jetway connected. Don't know if it's moving, so I don't know if it's working. Shocks can come on. We'll request the ground power unit. There we go, got the jetway connecting. And we can turn on the ground power unit. And I think that's pretty much everything. All just for a bit of aesthetics, we'll get these all hooked up so it just looks, my little trademark, get all the ground crew out just to make it look lively. And here we are, folks, we've done our little, what was the first leg was the capital connections, and the return leg was the Capital Connections minus Canberra. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that flight as we'll have a little look around Singapore quickly. Let's see what else is there at the airport. But yeah, no, thanks for joining me on this flight. And we will see you in the next video. We'll just have a little look around, see what is around. I'll just get that speed right up. There you got your Saudi, Korean, which is the best livery. That's the Korean air livery that I love. You've got a few aircraft here. That's where the Jetstar, the old Jetstar Asia terminal was. You've got all your Peach and all your Malaysian. I believe this is a low-cost carrier, low-cost terminal here. No, it looks like your typical Singapore airline. Oh, there's a Fiji Air there. That's another airline we should get out and do some flights. It seems to be a bit light with the Singapore Airlines and quite heavy with all the other airlines, so I'm not too sure if that's like it is in real life. Then you've got your freight terminal over here. No, it's just having a little look, see what's around. And there's the Jewel, which I haven't been to, but looks like we're not going to go there today. But yeah, that's us folks, and we will see you again in the next video. Thanks for joining my adventure, and yeah, take care. See you later.